What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Schmidt Talkers, where we talk a little Schmidt about our health. I am Dr. D with Dr. Lenz, and today we are going to talk about a question that we get periodically, quite frequently, when individuals start to work with us, and maybe they're new and maybe they're not used to the way we do things. So it's going to be a great topic. We're excited to dive in, and it's based around, why do I not lose weight on 1,200 calories a day? Because we get that frequently. But first, before we get into it, let's talk about our feel-good tip.
Feel-good tip.
And today, you guys should already know if you've listened to us that we've got amazing home and gym workouts. We've got amazing recipes in our daily feel-good membership. But were you also aware that we have mobility and daily drills and daily full body flows? Maybe you weren't aware of it. Well, now you are. So it makes the Daily Feel Good membership even that much better of a deal. We have mobility in there, so if you're stiff during the day, stiff at work, you can go in there and get a nice little stretch for your neck, your stiff shoulders, your stiff traps. We're all feeling it. So that is included in there, and that is your Feel Good tip.
Feel good tip.
All right, so let's get into it. We've got, why do I not lose weight on 1,200 calories a day? It's super common. We get this quite a bit because what we see commonly from our experience is that individuals will, when they're first starting their weight loss journey, they will cut the calories. They cut it. And they will start to see those initial results. And they're like, boom, I read it, I cut my calories, I'm losing weight, it's all working out. And then what we'll see is they stop losing weight. So then what they do is sometimes they cut their calories even more. And sometimes they gain a little bit. And they're so confused, they're like, everybody's been telling me to cut calories. It worked in the beginning and then it stopped and I feel like I'm almost going backwards. Why is this happening? So we'll just start with the question that we got on this topic.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. If we're going to start with the question, so here we go. I got this text message the other day from a current client. She is new to the Daily Feel Good and new to our community. So she is learning because we're big advocates on teaching our people so those results stick. Okay, so this is a great learning lesson here. Okay, I do have a question. Before I told you I was very overweight and I went from 235 to 149. I counted calories. I tried to stay under 1,200, so seeing 1,700 calories, I'm like, holy cow. I just want to learn, and that's why I reached out to you. But I thought that if you are eating 1,300 cal a day and then started eating 1,200 cal a day, that you would lose weight. So I'm afraid if I move to 1,700, I might gain. I know you're the professional, and that's why I'm asking you, so I can understand. And so to give you a little bit more background, what we do with our peeps is we set them macronutrients, and macronutrients equal calories. So then she saw the calorie number that I had set for her, which was around 1,700 calories. Okay, so now that you have a little bit more background, that's where she got that count from. And I understand that she's nervous because we're looking to lose weight. And a lot of times we equate losing weight and toning up, per se, I guess you could say, is if I want to take away fat on my body, I want to take away more food that I'm consuming. We do have that self-awareness where we know if I want to lose fat, I have to eat less, right? But that's not always the case.
Yeah, so like I said before we got into the question, is we see it all the time where people will lose that initial weight because of cutting calories. But then we see it, sorry.
I was just gonna say, and that's all that it really is to weight loss, is you have to cut your calories. You have to be in a caloric deficit. Mm-hmm. But there's a healthy caloric deficit while focusing on macronutrients, which in my opinion is the best way to encounter fat loss. And then there's cutting your macronutrient or your calories so low you're eating as much as what a toddler should eat. So there's a difference. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they cut them so low and they get those initial results. And then, like I said, this wasn't just with this individual. We see it and
All the
hear it
time.
all the time. People will hit a wall and they hit that wall and then they start cutting even more and they're so confused. Now, before we dive into all the different reasonings, there are a lot of different factors at play.
Yes.
And we will probably not be able to hit on every single
No.
factor at play in the time that we have here. But we'll just talk about some ones that come to us. So one of the reasons that our body may be doing this, and it's been even backed by research as well, is that the body is super, super smart. And when you start cutting those initial calories from what that person was probably used to with their activity level, they will lose that initial weight. Then the body starts to get smart. It goes, okay, I see you, I hear you. I'm gonna get a little bit more efficient at my job too. And it starts to learn how to burn less calories during doing all the daily things that you're used to doing. Because basically, your body's not just gonna let you die. And it's I mean, over time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm saying normally, if you're not able to eat a lot or you're restricting your food intake, your body's not gonna just shut down on you. It's gonna do its best not to shut down. So it's like, okay, I gotta use or conserve what I've got. Now, it takes some time for this to happen. See, that's the thing, and that's why people get so confused, because they go, wait a minute, it worked for a while. Why all of a sudden did it stop? Well, because it takes a while for your body will figure it out, but it takes a while to it kind of goes, okay, I'm gonna start burning less calories and I'm gonna start to catch up and make sure I'm conserving what I've got. And with that, it becomes harder to continue to lose weight.
Because essentially what's happening is when you're cutting your calories so much lower than what your body's used to using, it's using your reserves, it's using your fat as fuel. So that you shed all that fat, it might even pull from muscle if you're really in a really big caloric deficit, like in this case, which we don't want, which that's a different point I want to make. Once it's kind of taken, I mean, she went from 235 to 150. She lost a lot of her fat, and I bet she lost some muscle as well, depending on how fast that she lost that weight. But now that she lost that fat, the body's like, I'm slowing myself down. I need to conserve. I need to survive here. And so that's, and a lot of times too. So you hit that plateau, A, and then B. A lot of times too, people can't stick to eating 1,200 to 1,300 calories a day. I mean, I wouldn't be able to. So then you have that on the flip side where you might find yourself then going back to your old ways because the 1,200 calorie diet is not sustainable.
So that's what I was going to touch on, is an amazing point, because we see that commonly too.
Oh my goodness.
Is that when maybe they have a bad week or something comes up and whatever plan they were doing or just calorie restriction, they start eating a little bit more calories than what they were doing, which is that 1,200. Because their body got so used to conserving and got really good at that or better at that, they start to gain weight, sometimes faster and sometimes easier. Because ultimately, we talk about speeding up the metabolism or slowing down the metabolism. Their metabolism slowed down to burn less calories. And now, let's say, like I said, they had a bad couple weeks. They were eating more calories now.
And your body's not burning as much.
And your body's not burning as much, so what starts to happen? Blomp, blomp. It starts to accumulate, sometimes faster.
Yeah.
And people are like, I'm not, and they're so confused. And I totally get that confusion.
And that's why we always say a slow and steady fat loss is the way to go, because you are allowing your body to adapt to those changes. I mean, when you have a fast weight loss, you can experience metabolic changes. So I'm referring to your period. It can mess with your period because it messes with your hormones. Your body's trying to find a new homeostasis. If you've been 200 pounds for how many years, that's your body's normal set point. I mean, it's fighting to get back to that when you've lost that weight. So like you said, couple bad weeks, your body wants to go back to that norm it experiences. And that is one of the things where yo-yoing happens now, okay? There's no learning to fueling your body properly for sustainable, healthy living. I see all the time, I did keto, but I'm coming to you because I don't want to do keto my whole life. I want to learn how to eat. And then we try to teach them, and it's like, they just go back to their old ways. They gain weight and then they do keto again, and that's their way, but they can't maintain that. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They can't maintain that lifestyle, and it makes me sad because it really screws with your body when that happens. So that's kind of off topic a little bit, but
yeah, so that kind of talks about the first point in the confusion of why all of a sudden did the weight loss slow? Mm-hmm. Why is this happening? And there's other factors at play. You touched on a little bit with there could be some hormone things going on as well, that with that sudden weight loss that could fluctuate hormones, because what people don't realize, if there's that sudden loss of food consumption, sudden loss of calories, sudden loss of weight, what that equates to in the body is stress. That almighty stress word. And when the body feels stress, it would be like if I threw you out in the wild and I'm like, I'm not giving you food anymore. You're probably like, oh man, I gotta survive. That's stressful on the body.
Right.
So that cortisol plays a part. I mean, so that's a whole rabbit hole.
And that's even in general with being in a caloric deficit, even when it's a healthy caloric deficit like we set for people, your body is still technically going to be under stress, right? And that's why we do recommend real whole foods, getting in your micronutrients, taking supplements, because your body is in a deficit still. You're not in a weight maintenance, phase in your journey. So, which would change then your calorie amount that you'd be consuming in a day for weight maintenance.
Yeah. So then to touch on kind of the second concern is, so I'm used to eating a low calorie number. Mm-hmm. And now I'm starting to increase my calories again. Why am I not going to gain weight? Shouldn't I gain weight? Mm-hmm. How does this magic work? Because it seems like magic, right? How can we start to eat more and not gain a bunch of weight back? Like before, there's a lot of factors at play.
One being, I'll just say easy. One being is that you're still in a caloric deficit for your weight. The 1,700 calories that I had set her, which her current weight is no longer 150, by the way. She's gained some weight back, okay? She's still in a caloric deficit. That 1,700 calories, she's still in a deficit. So that's number one, because that's just a simple thing. You got to be in a caloric deficit to encounter weight loss. Yeah.
So you touched on before that macronutrients add up to your total calories.
And this is what I explained to her. Go ahead.
So we're obviously not sure. We know her calorie number before, but we don't know the macro breakdown.
No, she wasn't counting macros.
Yeah, but we don't know exactly what types of food she was eating at the amount of each food. We have no clue. So we have no clue. But what we will do is set a higher protein macronutrient number to make up those calories.
It's not higher. You're saying what she was probably eating. Or what people...
Than what they're probably used to, yes. Higher. And I say higher than what they're used to because most Americans...
Well, yeah. I'm just double checking because you said higher protein. Yes. It's adequate protein, but higher compared to what average Americans are used to eating.
Yes. Yeah. And higher compared to carbs and fats, macronutrients. Yeah. But yes, higher to what a normal American is used to eating, but yes, the adequate amount. It's nothing outrageous amount.
I don't want people to think like, they said high protein, I'm going to eat a lot of protein and get kidney stones.
Exactly, and that's a
Which
myth.
is a myth.
Yes, exactly. Because, again, most people that come to us and ask questions and we work with right away, and most Americans in general, they're just not eating any protein. Mm-hmm. And what we've seen most of the times, since they don't track and they're not really sure, most of the times they're getting around 40 grams of protein per day, when they should be hitting closer to their either goal weight or their current weight at 1 gram per pound. And so to give you a better idea, let's say I'm around 200 pounds, I should be eating around 200 grams of protein, minimum, right? So if the average American is eating around 40 grams to 50 grams, and then we increase that, that's high for what they're really used to.
Right, so we're increasing we set protein, carbs, and fats. Those have numbers. These numbers equal the calorie number. When people normally focus on calories, they're not focusing on their protein intake. Why is upping the protein number not going to make someone gain fat?
Yeah, so we talked about this in previous podcasts and other areas as well, but each macronutrient is going to have a different burn level, or basically each food that you eat, the body has to burn calories to break it down, to use it. Protein, it just happens to be, will burn more calories to break it down and use it compared to carbs and fat. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, well, it does, but the calorie number isn't huge. It isn't, but it contributes. It contributes. Every little bit of burning more calories throughout a day contributes to how someone can start to eat more than what they're used to and still lose weight and get results. So that protein is actually going to burn more calories to use. It's going to have that thermogenic effect that we talk about lots of other places.
Right. And yeah, so that is one reason, protein's going to burn more calories pretty much as you consume it.
Yes.
And then on the flip side too of that, point number 2 of protein is the role of protein, right? Mm-hmm. So protein is going to be our body's building blocks. Okay, what does that mean? I don't know. It means that it's going to help preserve your lean muscle. It's going to help build muscle. It's going to help your hormone function, your hair, skin, nails, your organ tissue. Really, the big thing is it's more than likely going to be going to your muscle, and your body is not going to want to store that protein number that I have set or Derek has set as fat. Okay, so even if you were eating all carbs and fats of 1,700 calories, technically, if you're still in a deficit, you're still going to lose weight technically, but you're going to get optimal fat loss results by having adequate protein because you are fueling your muscle, and muscle burns fat. Muscle makes you look toned. Muscle makes you look tight. Muscle increases your metabolism. There's so many benefits. So to consuming adequate protein, and that's one of the things I explained to her was I'm probably doubling the protein amount that you're used to eating, if not tripling, because you're probably eating so low of protein. So that is accounting for your calories. So you're pretty much probably keeping your carbs and fats the same with what you're consuming. You're literally just adding protein to your meals. And you will encounter fat loss. And I'm a walking testimony of that, because when I first met you, that's what we did with me. We just increased my protein intake.
I mean, I'm a walking testimony too.
And that's what you started doing.
So many other people everywhere that we've worked with and in general. I mean, it's very common.
It will change when we focus on macronutrients. It'll 100% change your physique. And it also allows flexibility. So thinking about now, she's in a plateau and she's also yo-yoed a bit. When you start to learn how to eat in balance and eat almost 1,800 calories, holy moly, you're going to feel so amazing.
Yeah.
Having that, it's empowering to be able to go out to dinner and enjoy some food and know what you're eating and what that's going to do for your body,
And then the next point onto the protein, what we encourage all the time is trying to incorporate more whole, real foods with the protein, carbs, and fat. So whole, real foods, it's foods that you can naturally find: chicken, beef, fruits, vegetables, those type of things, nuts, seeds, all those things. We try to encourage to get more of those whole real foods as much as possible. Now, why is that important? It's important because that's going to help decrease some of the inflammation going on in the body.
Yeah.
And what's inflammation do? Well, inflammation holds on to fluid, water, bloating, all that extra stuff that, may not accumulate a lot of extra weight, but you'd be surprised how much it can add up over a long period of time on an individual's body. Mm-hmm. So by just working even in that area, that's another factor that we try to add in there on top of the protein that will allow us to actually eat more and lose weight.
Right.
Lose some of that water weight, some of that bloating, that inflammation going on throughout the body.
And let's not forget that usually when you're eating fruits and veggies and especially things like berries, obviously all your vegetables for the most part, you can eat more of it because there's not going to be as many calories, and it's also going to be very nutrient dense. So that's one thing people don't take into account is what nutrients are in your food can help your hormone function and bring that part of your body out of a deficiency. Your body's then going to be more apt to shed fat because it's happy on the inside. It's getting all these nutrients. So you could eat more vegetables, you could eat more food, you can increase that. Whereas if I eat a donut or some chips, it's going to be very, very carb heavy, and I'm not going to be able to eat a lot of that. And it's also going to be digested faster, which is going to leave me hungry sooner rather than later. And it's a plethora of effects that happen. So I know we're diving in a little bit deeper there than just, the calories, but that definitely, it's like levels, right? Usually people who start, they're eating, just trying to hit their calories and macros, and we move them on to more whole foods, and we keep on growing and learning.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a journey, and like we said before, there's a lot of different factors going on at play. There's just not one or two things to why we can start to eat more and lose that additional weight. There's so many other things going on throughout the body. And to everything we just mentioned, whether it's incorporating more whole real foods, increasing our protein intake, or having an adequate amount of protein with an adequate amount of macronutrient split, we can actually start to speed up our metabolism again and have our body not be in that survival state where it's hanging on to everything. We can actually start to kind of teach it in a way of like, hey, you're good. This is a safe zone. This is a safe place. And it'll be like, okay, I feel safe. I can start burning calories. I can start using again. And I don't have to feel like I'm surviving and holding on all the time. So we can start to speed up the engine a little bit as well.
Yeah, and we have so many ladies in our community that literally, they're jacked. Like, not like jacked in like you see people in the magazine or whatever. They're toned. They're flexing. They got their biceps. They got back muscles. They look great. They look feminine still. They look strong. They are, I'm saying jacked because compared to how they were, they're jacked and they're eating more. And if they text me, they're like, I'm getting hungry throughout the week. I go, what are you eating? And then I go, let's add more. Because their metabolism has increased. So now they can eat even more food.
And then guess what? Because they built up more muscle, that muscle is burning more calories.
That's what it's insane. The body is insane. And so if you're eating 1,200 to 1,300 calories and you've seen success, congratulations. But I am going to tell you that is not a sustainable way unless you are literally 4'5", 4'9", I don't know, and you are a little thing. It's not a sustainable way of eating.
Yeah, and everybody wants to feel strong. So when people are like, well, I don't want, like, you do want muscles. I'm telling you, you do. You want the tone.
When you say toned up, you mean muscle.
Yes.
Okay? That's what you mean.
Exactly.
You mean
and who doesn't want to feel strong, being able to pick up a box, pick up your kid,
pick up the laundry basket,
do gardening,
bend over,
yes,
and to get cookies out of the oven, or to get your kid's pizza, or whatever you're doing on the weekend, and not throw out your back.
I was gonna say, you can't tell me you're lifting up your kid or lifting up something off the ground and then you tweak your back. That doesn't feel good for anybody.
And
you want to feel strong.
And you're like, wait, you're talking about food here. That's right. You will feel so much better eating more calories, eating more protein, eating more carbs and fats. Your body's going to be just so much
and
more
the key is it's eating the right foods in the right portions and the right amounts.
Right. That's it.
And that's it. Those are some quick.
Okay, I just want to say this. I don't know where we're at on the minutes here, but I just want to say it's not as hard and confusing as what it seems or what we make it out to be. What's hard is making yourself make changes and to stop getting what you get at McDonald's every day. I had to do that, okay? Stop getting that Coca-Cola every day at McDonald's. Stop going to Taco Bell when you're hungry at night. That's the hard part, is making yourself change. It's not how to get there. Does that make sense? So it's not like it's the changes that you have to look within yourself and make. you know, and that's the hardest part of it. We try our best to give you macronutrients so you have an idea of what you can eat in a day, no matter what. Even if you want to go to McDonald's, okay? Fit that in if you want, okay? I don't recommend it every day, but if you do it here and there, okay, whatever. Fit that in, you know, and start to learn what you're eating, and it just takes some change.
And that's why it's so important, because like you said, it's the change in mindset and habits that are the toughest things, really. We have the roadmap, right? The roadmap is the activities that we talked, the workouts, the mobility, it's the macros, it's our recipes. That is the roadmap. Yeah. It's the membership. That is the roadmap. But now it's incorporating that roadmap into your previous life. Previous life meaning your previous habits. If you're used to going to fast food or you're used to not eating, guess what? This roadmap is going to be different.
Right.
And not a bad different. It's just different and you're not used to it.
A lot of it is because eating takes up the majority of our day, not working out. You have to think about your food. So you have to think. You can't just mindlessly eat now. You have to think about what you're eating, and that's hard for a lot of people, and it was hard for me too. I mean, when I started it, I was like 19 or 20 years old. Going to McDonald's is like heaven sent, you know? And I think I get upset because tracking does take time, okay? We have to learn about our food in order to make a change. And if I'm coaching you, I have to see what you're eating, because if you tell me what you're eating, if you just tell me and not log it, you're just like, oh, I just ate this, you're lying. You don't know you're lying, but you're lying because you can't remember what you really ate. So I guess sometimes I get frustrated and sad because I'll get like, this is hard or this is whatever. I get it, it is, but this is the way. This is the way. Macronutrients, calories, learning about it. It just takes probably about a month of your life to learn and to just focus on our community, focus in the membership, use me, you know, for all I'm worth, and you will get it. You'll get it for life, and then you can teach your kids because you'll be eating better.
And the great thing is the roadmap that we just said, the roadmap doesn't change the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So once you get the roadmap and you incorporate it into your life, that's it. That's all there is to it. It doesn't change.
Like, here's like our recipes, for example, and our meal plans are as templates. They're already macronutrient balanced. That's why we do them, because people didn't know what to eat. So that's why we have them in there. And here's the thing. You can spend $100 in a year with our membership and use myself and Dr. D for all we're worth. You literally, that $100, however long you're gonna live, 80 years, divide that up, your days up, and break down the cost of that. I mean, obviously it's going to be less than a penny a day. My point being is you're going to have that knowledge for the rest of your life. And we're not trying to jip you and just make you follow a cookie cutter program. That's not what we are. So hopefully our podcasts and if you're in our group and our community, you see that from us that we're trying to teach.
And two, this is a random point, but
what
would we have to gain by
lying?
Let's say for this wicked satisfaction I would get by increasing your calories to have you gain weight?
Well, yeah, and that's what
I'm not saying to this, but I mean like for anybody. Like what would that be doing for me?
And that's what we talked about. So not only yesterday we were talking about this, he said it takes an open-minded, willing to learn, trusting in the process, because I tell you what, when you're in a healthy caloric deficit, it's a slow and steady process. But we already said that's a good thing because your body is going to be more apt to lose that fat, right? And we said something else, I can't remember, but maybe it's like being honest with yourself. I'm not too sure. But it takes just open-mindedness, being willing to change is what it was, I think, and trusting in us, trusting the process that we're not fibbing. We've been saying this you've taught me a lot about calories and macros, so you've been saying it for like 8 years now. But it's really
probably more like 10.
It's really hard to keep lying every talk or every year. We say the same thing over and over again because it's the truth.
Yes, it is.
The truth.
So Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully those are some of the factors that we talked about that starts to kind of make sense.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a truth bomb episode where it's like, look, 1,200, 1,300 calories may make you feel good mentally because you're eating so much less, but I tell you, unless you're an itty bitty person, you need more than that.
I'm gonna tell you what though, quickly, that usually has the opposite effect. After people do that for a long period of time, they stop losing that initial weight, they start feeling mentally fatigued, and they actually don't feel better. Just saying.
And here's one of the keys, you did go over it, and then we'll round this up, but when you do increase your calories, the best thing that you can do for yourself is keep your foods as clean as possible. And don't go dirty. Don't go processed. Don't add loads of inflammatory oil dressing on your salad. Don't go adding low quality dairy. It's going to bloat you and you're going to feel like doo-doo. Don't add a bunch of deli meat, like bad processed deli meat, you could get bloated. So watch that quality. Keep the quality of food there. Try your best.
That really is the truth. We hope this was helpful. Please, if you found this helpful, please share it with someone that may also find this helpful. We appreciate your support in any way that you can give it. And then also, like we talked about probably a bazillion times in this episode, our membership. It's only $9. We've got so many things in there. We add things all the time. It's really great. It's really affordable. And on top of it, we've got an amazing community to help you incorporate and stick to this mindset swap and habit building. All right. And plus, we're there for you too. Okay. It's a win-win for everybody.
That's right.
So we would love to have you. drlindsayschmidt.com. Am I missing anything?
You got it. Nailed it.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. We love you guys, and we will talk to you next time.
See ya.